You know, it's funny that I do these videos and I talk over them. It's funny because I'm not someone who is really known for being verbose, or I don't wax poetic or go on tirades, or have a lot to say, really. I mean, it's not that I don't have a lot to say. I don't have the urge to say things. When I'm around people, usually I just I don't like to sit around and have deep discussions. I'm not adverse to it, but generally I just want to sit and relax. And the thing that comes to mind, and I don't know if this is exactly it, but it's like there can be times for those kind of deep discussions, but I feel like they happen. Like I like to let them happen naturally. I don't like to come into a conversation and be like, "Oh, I had this on my mind." Like I don't come into these videos with something I want to talk about. It's actually it stresses me out whenever I try to do one of these things, because I'm like, well, this is kind of against my nature. When I hang out with people, I tend to just kind of make jokes, and talk, and there's some amount of small talk in there. But usually I'm someone who kind of sits on the, if I'm hanging out with friends, I'll sit on the sidelines and listen and enjoy the conversations that's happening. And, every once in a while I will pipe in. But usually I'm pretty quiet on the conversation front. But if I see an opportunity to make a joke, or, and these aren't great jokes, I feel like I'm kind of known for my bad jokes, and gleefully bad jokes. Like I'm making a bad joke, and I know I'm making a bad joke, and that makes it much funnier for me, at least. And a select few. A lot of people would probably consider a lot of my jokes groaners, but I don't know. I guess that's usually my contribution to a conversation. And I don't really know what people think of me. They probably think I'm a goofy guy who draws comics. I don't know, but maybe they don't think of me as a deep thinker. I know I don't consider myself a deep thinker. I feel like a lot of the times things that people consider deep are usually just, I don't know, maybe this will sound arrogant, but when people come at me with their deep thoughts, and they're like, "Oh, this is something deep, what do you think of this?" I'm always like, in my head, I'm like, "Well, that's not deep at all. That's obvious." Or that's like that's, it's stuff that doesn't even need to be said. You know what I mean? I spend a lot of my time, and this is, I think, one of the reasons I like drawing so much, is especially the older I get, I feel like a lot of the times I'm just looking to quiet my mind down and slow time down and get my body to relax. And one of the ways I do that is, when I draw, I'm looking to quiet my mind, or if I sit down to relax, I'm looking to quiet my mind. So I'm not focusing on figuring things out, or contemplating deep mysteries of the universe. I'm looking to get my mind to a point where it's like a blank. When I think about it, I think of it in terms of meditation. And It's like, for me at least, I don't know whether that it's just like I'm not challenging my mind, uh, or I've achieved some blessed state or whatever. But now it's like I've been trying to quiet my mind for so long that I feel like my natural state is to just kind of zone out and be blank. I don't know if this is any sort of achievement in any sort of way. It's just kind of the way I am these days. And it's funny because, like a time like now, there's so much going on in the world right now, and it's hard to do these videos and come and talk because I want these things to be either lighthearted or meandering, but right now in the world it's hard not to be political and not to want to talk about all the stuff going on in the world, and or rant or decry people, or I don't want that to be what this channel is about. I know I posted a few videos lately that are a little political, and I probably will post some more in the next few months, but I want this to be just a place for my mind to wander where it will. And part of me wants this channel to be a break from all that stuff for people. Like I don't want it to be another battleground. Do you know what I mean? I want it to be about relaxing and drifting and floating. Because those are, when I'm drawing and I'm really into drawing, those are the sensations I have. Like I have, it's like sensations of time either slowing down or speeding up or going away, or sometimes I have a sensation of drifting or flying or floating, or if I'm really into what I'm drawing, like flying, zooming through space, whatever, like I'm not really getting visuals or anything, but I definitely feel the sense of momentum and excitement, when I'm really into a drawing. There's this amazing level of sensory interaction, that's just like, has nothing to do with what I'm drawing, and has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I'm just sitting there, almost still, and it becomes this kind of transitory experience, and a lot of times with drawing, I go into the drawings like I go into these talks, where I'm like, I don't have an agenda or a goal. I'm just going to draw and see what happens. And, in some ways, I don't know if this is what it is, but, it's sometimes it feels like I'm channeling things, like I'm not, like the stuff I'm drawing is coming from somewhere else, beyond myself, and I don't consider myself a very spiritual person, and I tend to be more, believe more in, logic and science than supernatural, or, I'm not really religious in any way, that's never really been something I've been into, even though I grew up in a Christian household. It became quickly apparent to me that religion was not for me. I just know when I'm doing these drawings. I grew up in a household that was, I have I have 3 brothers and a sister. And so I grew up in a household of with 5 kids. It's a pretty big house, but not huge. Like we all had to share rooms with at least one sibling. There was no space. We were all kind of on top of each other. And I think one thing drawing became was a retreat for me. A way, to be home, but to get away. It was an escape. I was also a very sickly kid. I had really bad asthma and allergies, like bad enough that I was hospitalized a lot. I never really joined official teams, but like I could still play sports. I liked playing baseball and run around and stuff like that. It's just, there were times when I couldn't run or walk or breathe. And so I think drawing became a big focus for me. I mean, not only because I was sick, but, I also was like really into animation and comics growing up, and really into like the stories that were being told and the art of how things are made, and the craft of telling a story, and the craft of editing, and the craft of drawing. And it's just really fascinating, the illusion of what you can do with drawing, like how you can create space or action or form or emotion, or I don't know, it's still like these things that are just endlessly fascinating and deep, and these just these deep pools of, it's a way you can kind of dig into the world and understand it, is through storytelling. Like, one of the things I love about comics is not only is it illustration, it's movement, it's pacing, it's rhythm, it's storytelling, and then there's aspects of color and composition and time, and I don't know, it's just kind of like, not only that, but it's like you could make a comic by yourself. You don't need a big production house to do it. I mean, you can, like a lot of the bigger companies have like a team of a penciler, an inker, a letterer, a colorist, an editor, a writer, like a team of 5 or 6 people working on a book. But it's easy to do a book on your own. It's just time consuming, and it feels like the most direct way to make something. And I think the cool thing about comics, well, aside from everything I've already listed, is you can really, they're cheap to make, they're very like easy to hand out, especially now that there's the internet. Like, it's just an easy way to communicate and reach out to people and make the story you want to make. And because it's so cheap, you can really like explore a lot of cool ideas and thoughts, and then, like, I don't know, I feel like storytelling is one of the best ways to get whatever you want to say across. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're trying to tell a moral tale, or do like follow the life of these characters, or do fantasy or science fiction, or like you can do whatever you want, because you're only limited by your ability and your imagination. You know what I mean? And the tough parts is figuring out how to communicate and get your points across, But, I mean, the good thing is, a lot of that work's already been done for you, because if you're already into comics, you've been reading comics your whole life, and you've been, like, learning that language your whole life. I don't know. It's just such a good medium to explore and experiment with, to figure out new ways to tell stories, or new ways to put things together, or Yeah, I should just talk about comics all the time because I could talk about comics for a long time, and I probably repeat a lot of things over and over again. But I just love it. It's funny. I haven't kind of out of the loop with comics. I stopped going to comic stores on a regular basis, and this has happened a few times, but this feels more permanent. I just kind of, in the past year or two, I kind of drifted away from going to comic stores. I'll go in, like once every 3 months and buy a bunch of zines or comics, whatever looks interesting, but there were times, even times like not that long ago, maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, where I was going every week still, and I was, buying books, and I don't know, I haven't gone on a regular basis in about a year, maybe longer actually, because I'm not including pandemic times. I definitely haven't been to one since this whole thing started. But even though I'm not buying comics anymore, I have this big urge to make them, and I've been very caught up in doing like freelance work, and one of my goals, I kind of came out to Massachusetts, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and get back into comics. That was one of my goals. I did this book that has been announced last year. It's not out yet. It's part of a series of books First Second Publishing puts out on science books. It's a book about digestion. So I drew like a 120-page graphic novel and colored it. I didn't write it, but I drew, inked, and colored it all myself, and it was fun to do. It was fun to do a comic again. I really miss it, and I was hoping to come out here and kind of, I came back home for a while to teach, and then I was also like, well, I'm gonna see if I can transition into doing books and make a living at it. And then this whole pandemic thing happened, and I thought, well, maybe now is not a good time to take financial risks. So instead of, taking a chance and a break and working on my own stuff, I called up some people and was like, hey, do you have any full-time work right now? You can work from anywhere right now, especially in animation. So so I ended up lining up a bunch of jobs and some full-time work, and that's what I've been doing. I've been working full-time on one job, and then I have a few freelance jobs I'm working on too, and it's been great, and the work is interesting, but it definitely takes me away from my own work. That's one of the reasons you haven't been seeing as many videos from me, is I have other stuff I have to work on, and it takes up all my creative energy, and but I really want to get back to doing my own stuff. So I think like right now my plan is to keep doing these videos, and try to keep doing drawings and stuff like that in my spare time, but then also doing work and freelance work and stuff for animation for the next year or so. I just kind of buckle down and save up money while I can, because right now seems like a good time. Not much else going on. Seems like a good time to save up some money since I'm lucky enough to have a job and work in a field that's still doing well. Knock on wood. So, I'll probably still keep on working in animation for a while, but I think on the side I'm going to be focusing on like figuring out what my next idea is, and developing it and figuring out the characters and figuring out the story and really like planning it. I want to focus on a comic and then also focus on doing children's books. So that's my plan. That's where I'm at. But I'm going to keep making these videos. I hope you're liking it. And Yeah, one thing I would like to do is, if anyone's still listening by this point in the video, I know this is a long one, and I've been rambling quite a bit. If anyone has anything they want to hear me talk about or hear my opinion on, feel free to leave a comment. And in the comments, just, give me a topic of something you want me to ramble about. Or, if there's an aspect of the industry you want me to talk about. Or, advice on comics. Or why do I do this in my drawings? What materials do I like to use? I should write these down so I can just do topics on these questions in the future anyway. But yeah, leave an old comment in the below the video and let me know your thoughts. It's always nice to hear from people too. So even if you just want to say something nice or something mean, leave a comment. And if you make music and you'd like to see your music featured in one of my videos, contact me in the comments too, or email me through my website. I'd love to. I made a bunch of random tracks that I use over and over again, but I'd love to get some new music in here. And I'll put a link and a link in the post, and I'll give you a shout out in the video. And so if you have a 3 to 5 minute videos, I'll make a video. 3 to 5 minutes music song, I can make a video featuring just that song, and I probably won't talk over it. But if you have longer, like more ambient, weird tracks, they don't have to be weird, but just kind of like something that's good to talk over. That's anywhere between like 8 and 30 minutes. I would love to get some of that stuff and talk over it. And yeah, anyway, just something for you guys to think about. No pressure. Yeah, and I'm not really looking for songs with I can have vocals, but I'm not really looking for stuff. I'm looking for more meditative stuff. So even the short stuff, something that would go good with a video about drawing, the way I would think about it. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you're all doing well and you're staying healthy and safe and wearing your masks. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone supporting the Patreon. The Patreon starting in August is live again and kicking, and for the next few months I'm going to be donating the money I make from Patreon to some COVID relief organization, to be determined. Yes, so it won't be that much because I don't really have that many patrons. So but I still feel weird about collecting money from people during these times. So but I've been getting new patrons, so I'm like, well, people are interested in giving me money, so I will take that money and donate it to something that I think could use it. So anyway, I hope you all have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.